What's up, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the broader markets. I'm going to break down some big news that just came out that's causing Tesla to dip a bit. What's going on with President Trump is we have a lot of big important news that could be affecting the stock markets, and whether or not Tesla's going to likely bounce looking at what it's doing so far. Is Tesla about to see a big drop, or is it about to dip to support and see a big rebound? I'll give you guys the answers in just a couple of minutes. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link that's down below or sign up with my QR code that's right over here. Moomoo is an amazing global brokerage that consists of many exclusive offers. If you sign up and deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 25 in total. And deposit $5,000, you're guaranteed 60 free stocks. You'll also qualify for an 8.1% APY in uninvested cash, and the offer ends at the end of July in just 2 weeks from now. So check out my links down below. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with the overall stock market. So, as far as Tesla is going, I just want to say that we've been on a very, very nice uptrend, making higher highs and higher lows. We're also bouncing off this trend line, which is acting as support. But the question is, as Tesla dips, can we see a bounce to continue to push tomorrow, or does Tesla end up rejecting and lose its key support? I'm hoping we try to get a bounce and that all this bad news is being priced in and that Tesla tries to follow the trend, because Tesla started off with the pump hitting the resistance at 325, the exact level we called out yesterday. But instead of breaking past 325 and holding, we saw this thing reject for now. And we're going to be watching to see if it could bounce off support or not. Because when you look at SPY right now, we're breaking to new all-time highs. The QQQ is also breaking to all-time highs. The market is continuing to rally. And I hope that Tesla tries to follow this trend. It is a little bit weaker than the market right now because of some bad news that came out, but there's still hope for a bounce if we break and hold this key support. So if we could hold this support right here, I do think Tesla could bounce. I'll be talking more about this in just a couple of minutes. But I first want to talk about the news and data. So why on earth is Tesla down? President Trump has imposed a 93.5% anti-dumping tariff on Chinese graphite after the U.S. Commerce Department concluded that China has been selling the material at the U.S. For lower prices. As a result of this brings the total cost for importers to about 160%. Graphite is very important for batteries, and keep in mind that when it's being produced, it's going to be affecting a lot of different products. And then it's going to be affecting a lot of companies like Tesla and their supply chains like Panasonic. One thing that happened is right now, there's been a lot of talk about how the 160% tariff now adds $7 per kilowatt hours to the cost of making a standard battery cell. So this is going to make things a bit more expensive. And this is part of why Tesla kind of dipped with this news. So that's not the best of news so far. Then there's news about Waymo. So Waymo has their self-driving cars as well. Once again, they are a part of Google's parent Alphabet, and they are planning on expanding their self-driving technology to even more cities. So the news is saying that they want to expand even more to Austin, Texas, and that's going to be very important. If they continue to expand their self-driving capabilities in Austin, Texas, is going to be a big competitor with the robotaxi. That's not the best of news for Tesla because it's going to become more competitive. And then simultaneously, there was another downgrade that came out for Tesla because their sales did slow down a bit in Q2. And there are some analysts who are saying that they're going to be downgrading their price targets on Tesla, and they're worried about a potential sell-off that could be coming. That's part of why we saw some downside. Now Lucid is once again setting a new deal, and then that's going to help them once again take on Waymo and Tesla. So I just want to say that mainstream media is always comparing these self-driving vehicles, autonomous robotaxis with different companies, especially Tesla, and they will do anything they can to bash Tesla. I think this is not the best of things that happens, but this is the honest truth about how mainstream media tends to treat Tesla very, very poorly compared to other companies. For more news, keep in mind that Goldman Sachs is neutral on Tesla for now, and the price-price ratio is trying to climb. It's now kind of flat right here, so it's kind of flatlining because Tesla's trading sideways. Historically, Fridays tend to be green about 49% of the time for Tesla, and we tend to see more volatility at 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's what we're seeing at least thus far. So the question is, what's happening to Tesla? Are we going to see a pullback? I wouldn't be surprised if we dip a little bit more, but I want to see us hold these EMAs. If we could hold 313 to 315, we're looking for a big bounce and a continuation higher. If we lose 313, we could be dipping lower, but I'm hoping we see some buyers defend. Looking at the daily time frame on Tesla, I just want to note that we're looking bullish overall. We're still technically bullish. As long as you don't lose this 313 to 315 zone right here. This is also where the daily 20 and 50 EMAs happen to align. So hopefully we see this thing dip and bounce and try to push as we get closer to earnings. Earnings for Tesla are going to be next week on the 23rd of July. So less than 1 week from now, we have Tesla's earnings. That could also cause a lot of volatility. So be ready just to be safe. Hopefully we see Tesla kind of dip and bounce. We'll see if that ends up happening or not. Even for tomorrow specifically, we could be looking for that if we hold our key support. For other tickers out there, when you look at our data, much of the data has been quite good. We have retail sales, which are quite strong. Export and import prices are very close to what we saw from before, although export prices are going up a little bit. But despite that, initial jobless claims were fine. And then the data from the Philly Fed was very solid, showing some strength in employment and new orders. So overall, good data helped the market push. Tomorrow is going to be Friday, July 18th. We basically have some very minor housing data in the morning. Then at 10 a.m., we have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment data for inflationary expectations. This may cause some volatility 30 minutes after the stock market opens. So we're going to see if that causes a bounce or not after 30 minutes. My guts tells me that even if Tesla comes down a bit more, it could still bounce because the overall market's trying to pump, and that could help Tesla to some extent. Now, when it comes to more news about the tariffs and such, I want to give you guys a quick update on President Trump and what he's been saying. President Trump has been saying that he's going to be sending letters to 150 different countries again, and he wants to do this once again to make it very clear the U.S. is going to charge them 10 to 15% on tariffs or even higher. And then on top of that, he wants to see more deals to kind of offset this, so keep that in mind. For more news, President Trump also has been talking about how he does not want to fire Jerome Powell. He once again clarified that, so that is more bullish news for the stock market. He does not want to fire Jerome Powell. Jerome Powell is going to be keeping his job. And then for those out there who don't know about the tariffs, this is what they look like so far. So you could see like Indonesia is going to be hit with a 19% tariff because of the deal that came out. That's lower than before. Vietnam has 20%. However, the problem is that the Vietnam deal is not finalized. They're making progress on it, but we're going to see when it's officially done. The UK, the EU, Mexico, they all have tariffs to be negotiated with. I think the EU just had a deal back in June, but we're waiting for the European Union and Mexico and many other countries to see if they could forge more deals or not. And the most important one, not the most important, but the biggest tariff right now is on Brazil at 50%. Are we going to see a big deal with Brazil? We'll have to see about that. We're going to be very, very patient nonetheless. Now, some good news. President Trump has been saying that he's very optimistic about Vietnam. He mentioned that the deal is pretty well set and that we should be expecting an announcement very soon. He also said that we're expecting a similar deal with India. He's saying India is going to have a big deal very soon, and he's very, very optimistic about this. President Trump also said that the economy is very, very strong and that this is going to continue to help things. So keep that in mind. That's what he's saying. That is more positive for the markets. Now, when it comes to earnings, we just got Netflix, which announced their earnings, and tomorrow we have a couple more. Netflix is quite important for some sectors, but not the entire market as a whole. I would say it's not that crazy compared to like a big tech company. But nonetheless, they did very, very well with earnings. So they beat on expectations. Revenue is up 16% at 11.08 billion. That's the second highest we've ever seen. Or for the second quarter, that's higher than what we saw compared to what Wall Street was expecting. They also raised their full year guidance, which is bullish. And then overall, when you look at their EPS and revenue, nice beats. Net income is up. Overall, good job by Netflix. Good growth overall. Now, tomorrow is going to be a Friday. Keep in mind that we have a 2.7 put to call option ratio. We have 2.5 million puts expiring, and we have almost, or a little bit over, basically, 900 plus thousand calls expiring. So once again, 2.7 put to call option ratio, 610 is max pain. Could this incentivize more of a squeeze? Looking at the options chain, let me just say that there's a lot of open interest for the 627 strike alongside 630. Those could be areas of interest for SPYs that could incentivize more upside, and that could help Tesla to some extent. With that being said, what do I think Tesla's going to do? Well, for now, we're in a bullish channel because Tesla's trying to rebound here. Tesla's a range-bound stock, meaning that if you look at the last couple of months, as we get to the like 275 to 290, we like to bounce. As we get close to 360, we like to reject. Now, although Tesla is technically making lower highs here, the question is, can we go a little bit higher and try to get past this resistance? If you take a trend line like this and kind of draw it out, you could see that this is going to be another resistance the higher we go. But there is still potential to push into the 330s if we continue this uptrend. So For now, the trend is bullish on Tesla. Why do I say that? Because Tesla is making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, continuing to uptrend very, very well. It's looking more bullish. Now, if we're bearish on Tesla, you want to see Tesla fail at 313 if there's really bad news and it doesn't hold 313, then yes, I could see this low at 307 to be retested, and then potentially we could be dipping to like 302 in case we fail at 313. But if we are bullish, we're going to try to make higher highs and higher lows like this and continue to uptrend back up towards this 325 area. If that breaks, we're going to be looking for an attempt for 330 or above. But in my personal opinion, I think that there's a very, very good chance that Tesla is going to try to uptrend a bit more. And I think that this is going to try to bounce, hopefully, if we hit this double support, because we have a double support right here at this 315 area near where this trend line is and also our 20 EMA. So perhaps Tesla does dip a bit more. And then once we touch support, we try to bounce and start pushing back up for 325. Hopefully that ends up being the case. Overall, there is potential to go higher on Tesla if we do end up getting a bounce. So for tomorrow, look for a big test. I hope that Tesla holds the support to bounce. I think there's a good chance it's going to happen. And we could be looking for an attempt to retest 325 so long as we don't get any major bad news. If we get bad news, of course, if 313 fails this, I am open to downside, and I'm going to turn more bearish if that happens. But as of right now, we have not lost any critical support. So the odds favor a dip and a bounce on Tesla and more potential upside. Now, what else could help Tesla is the overall market, right? The market does dictate price action for many individualistic stocks. So look at SPY, right? The daily is looking bullish. Let me just hide these drawings real quick. The daily is bullish on SPY. The daily is bullish on the QQQ. The daily is bullish on the IWM, right? If you look at ES, NQ, everything's looking bullish on the daily. We're looking very, very strong on everything. So that could help Tesla to some extent because of how the algorithms are going to be adjusting to this, right? Typically, Tesla is a positive beta stock. Tesla would have pumped today with the markets, but because of all this bad news about the graphite tariffs and the bad news about the downgrades before earnings, that's why it ended up selling off a little bit. So it just goes to show that Tesla could follow the trend. And if we don't get too much bad news tomorrow, Tesla could still bounce. The market could also help Tesla. SPY has been in a range, right? As we hit 627, we like to reject. And as we hit 618, we like to bounce. So it's very simple. If we can't hold 627, look for 625. Those both fail us. We're looking for a dip back down. If we're bullish and we hold above 627, though, we could continue to uptrend for 630. In my opinion, I think the odds are favoring more upside for SPY, and we're holding it very, very nicely. 630 looks very possible as long as we don't lose 627. So overall, SPY is looking more bullish. On the QQQ, we're looking more bullish. We're holding up very, very nicely. If we end up losing 557, first 560, then 557.5, excuse me. If we lose those two supports, I could turn bearish and we could be dipping down. But as of right now, we're favoring new all-time highs and we could consolidate and start pushing for 564. We're looking quite bullish in my personal opinion, based off the daily and the much larger time frames. For the IWM, when you zoom out, okay, this is resembling an inverse head and shoulders like this. So the full measured move takes you all the way up to the high 220s, if not to 230. Inverse head and shoulders, nice breakout, and we're favoring 230 as a potential target. My guts tells me this is going to try to push higher, and I think we're doing a fantastic job. In my opinion, I think the IWM, it could try to push for 226. If that breaks, we're going to try to go even higher. If we lose 222, though, there's going to be a risk of 220. And if that fails us, we could be dumping. For now, the odds are favoring an attempt to go higher, right back up towards the highs over here. So we're looking quite bullish on the IWM. On ES, we're looking bullish. If we end up losing 63.35, we're going to be dipping lower back down to 6,300. But as long as we're above this, we're going to be favoring 63.60, then eventually 63.80. Now we're breaking structure. See this red line? We rejected 3 times off the red line before. Now we're breaking it. What typically happens is you backtest and start breaking out like this. We're looking more bullish on ES. For NQ, we look more bullish. If we end up losing 21,180 or 23,180, excuse me, we could be dipping more. But for now, we're favoring 23,300 or above to once again break to all-time highs. We're favoring an attempt to go up to 23,300 plus on NQ, so keep that in mind. Bitcoin's holding up well. We're going to see if this is like a head and shoulders or not. If this is a head and shoulders, you want to see us lose 116,000 to dump. But as long as we're above 118,500, we're favoring an attempt for 122,000 again. We're still, at least technically speaking, looking bullish. Like I said about Tesla, I want to see us bounce near here. I want to see us bounce off this trend line. There is 110% potential to do that. If we could hold support, I do think we could bounce tomorrow for 325. So watch that. There is potential for Tesla. Nvidia is holding up very well. Now, if we lose 172, we could be dipping back down to 169. But as of right now, we're favoring 174, and this may continue to push for 175 plus. We look quite bullish on Nvidia. For others out there, we have Apple. So Apple's not doing much. It's very tight right now. And there's a good chance it's going to likely continue to consolidate, hitting like 211, back down to 209, and just consolidating before it breaks up or down. So look for some consolidation on Apple. We're going to see if it breaks or not. Netflix had very solid earnings, good growth, good improvements to their guidance, very, very good stuff, at least for the fundamentals of the company. However, the problem is that we're not really doing much. A lot of this may have been priced in. So I do think we consolidate again tomorrow and we just trade sideways like this. That may also just happen for tomorrow unless we try to rally. I don't think Netflix is going to dump too hard. I think we're going to either consolidate and bounce. But overall, it's just not really going to do much. For MSTR, if we lose 443, we're looking for a dip. So long as we're above this, we're favoring 462 or above. We're looking more bullish. Celsius is favoring 44.89. We're favoring upside for the 44.8 area. We look bullish. Supermicro is looking bullish unless we end up losing 51.9 to start dipping. We're favoring a bounce and a move back up towards 54. For Palantir, we look bullish. If we lose 151, we're looking for a dip to 148. As long as we're above 150, though, we're favoring 157. If Rivian breaks 13.03, we're looking for a push. If we lose 12.5, we're looking for a dip. This is favoring a push to the 13s. SoFi is looking bullish. As long as we don't end up losing 21.5, we're favoring 22.5 or above. AMD, if we end up losing 158, we're looking for a dip. It does look like it might dip to like 158 or so and consolidate before potentially going higher. The trend is bullish for now, so watch to see a dip and then a bounce afterwards because a lot of buyers are continuing to defend. For other tickers, we have ARM, which is still looking quite bullish. We're favoring that as long as we don't lose 155, we're favoring 160 plus. PayPal is looking more bullish as long as you don't lose 73.8. We're favoring 75 as a potential target because the trend is bullish, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low for 75. Coinbase is bullish as long as we don't lose 410. We're favoring the very, very interesting 420 target. I think we could be looking for 420 very soon. Amazon, if we end up losing 224 and 222, we're looking for a dip. As long as we're above 224, though, we're favoring 226 as a target. We look more bullish. As long as we could hold 700 on Meta, we could be looking for an attempt for 706. But if 700 fails us, we could be dumping. So we're kind of consolidating right here. We're kind of stuck in the middle, not really doing a whole lot. For others out there, we also happen to have Google, which looks bullish. If we lose 182, we're looking for a dump to 180, but as long as this holds, we're going to be favoring 186. So keep that in mind. Microsoft is looking bullish. If we break past 512, we're looking for 515. But if we lose 510, we're looking for a dip back down. This favors a dip and a bounce, and 515 becomes very possible. UJT is looking bullish. As long as you don't lose 18, we're favoring an attempt for basically 19.36. The VIX got this big rejection here. We have this like Wiccan rejection. There's a gap to fill at 16.3 and basically 15.9. The 10 year is kind of flat here, so is the dollar. And then we have crude forming an inverse head and shoulders, possibly because of what's happening in the Middle East right now. There are a lot of tensions between Israel, Syria, and many other countries. But we'll see how it goes. So to me, my general consensus is that the market looks bullish. As long as we could hold some key levels, as long as SPY holds like 627, we're looking bullish, and so is the QQQ. And that could really help Tesla. Tesla could also try to bounce if we could try to hold above 315. It could see somewhat of a dip. It could dip again, but I want to see us hold 315 at least. And if we do, we're looking for an attempt to continue to push for 325 or above. I think there's a very good chance Tesla's going to be going for a bounce, but we're going to have to be careful because it also depends on the news and we can't always predict everything that's going to happen. So hopefully we touch 315 and bounce on Tesla. We're going to be testing this big trend line. I don't want to see us lose key support. And for now, there's a very, very strong chance we try to bounce with the overall market, as long as there's no major bad news. So the question is, can Tesla bounce tomorrow? Most likely, yes, we most definitely can, especially if we hold some key support. I would like to see that as time goes on. Anyways, that is it for this video. I'll see you guys tomorrow before market open for another update. Until then, I wish you guys nothing but the best. I really appreciate you guys so much for listening. Enjoy what life has to offer, and I'll be back before the market opens tomorrow. Thank you for listening. Have a good one, and peace out.